In today's video, we're going to run through my team selection for the final match day of the season and hopefully look to break within the top 5k of players. Now, before we dive into today's video, of course, if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel or any that you have seen this season, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It is massively appreciated by me, and we've had a pretty kind of fruitful year, shall we say, in terms of the subscribers. The numbers have pretty much gone up around 10,000, so thank you very much for your continued support this season, and hopefully we can continue these positive upward trends into next season as well. Starting off with my team from game week 37 then, as you can see, pretty okay week. We finished on a green arrow up to 7k now, so pretty decent. I was absolutely devastated to see KDB play, Munoz or Gvardiol play last night. We could have got ourselves a cheeky little concert 15-pointer off the bench. It would have put us inside the top 5k, but it unfortunately wasn't meant to be. KDB missing a sitter as well. That was really unfortunate. So overall, a little bit frustrating with the Tuesday night games, but the rest of the team definitely pulled through. Mikalenko, Raya, Bowen, Rogers, Watkins, Visser, all did their jobs, all did what we needed them to do this week. And I think it puts us in a really, really good position heading into the final game week of the season. I'm very, very happy with how the team is lining up. If we take a look at the betting data then, heading into this game week, obviously make sure you're going and checking out Rob T FPL's Twitter. We've been using him all season, and he's been absolutely class. But as you can see, lots and lots of goals predicted this week. If your defense is looking a little bit ropey and you're thinking about a defensive transfer, for me personally, I probably would just sack it off this week. Look how many goals are expected across these fixtures. I would be prioritizing bringing in attackers this week rather than defenders. And I think it's just a little bit more exciting anyway, isn't it, really? Like, imagine the final game week of the season and you go, yeah, I'm just going to bring in a centre-back. I wouldn't bother. Genuinely, I'm looking at these numbers. I would suggest that there's going to be plenty of goals going around in fixtures. It's a trend across the kind of last day of the season as well. I think it's 20% of games end up with 5+ goals. It's ridiculous. It genuinely is ridiculous. Rob did a post about it as well. The numbers are insane for the final day. There's going to be goals flying in everywhere. So my honest advice is, for me personally, use your transfers on attacking players rather than defenders. In terms of the goals then, Liverpool are with the highest, which is a little bit surprising given obviously their recent results since winning the league title. Mohamed Salah as well will put himself, of course, in the conversation for captain, but I do think with only 2 attacking returns since game week 30, probably devalues him as a pick for me personally, in my personal opinion. Said personal quite many times there. Then we've got Arsenal, Newcastle and Bournemouth with 2.4 projected goals. Really would be looking to invest heavily in all of these sides from an attacking perspective. And then, like I said, all the other games have got stuff riding on the line. You've got goals that potentially could be flying in across the board as well. And obviously that West Ham fixture with Jared Bowen is going to be one that I would be looking at in terms of captaincy as well for this game week. In terms of my team then, and the transfers that I am looking at, I'm thinking about potentially getting rid of either KDB or Mohamed Salah, given his obviously recent run of form, and even moving to Bukayo Saka, because I think he could be a very heavily owned player, and a lot of people could, of course, give him the armband for this final game week as well against Southampton. So I'm a little bit like, do I just cover myself off, bring in Saka? Of course, Southampton have been pretty abysmal throughout the course of this season with their XG conceded. Or do I go for Cole Palmer, who has got a game in that Chelsea need to go and win, if of course they do want to secure themselves Champions League football for next season as well. So I'm looking at both of these players. I think they both could have big final days, but I do like to target players, especially towards the back end of the season, that still have stuff to play for, that still could achieve something from this season. I do feel Cole Palmer definitely fits more into that narrative. However, if we do look at the betting data, it is suggesting a very, very strong win for Arsenal, and that could sway me more towards Bukayo Saka. I also feel that a lot of people will be looking to bring him in this week, potentially give him the armband, so it covers me off from an effective ownership point of view as well. A little bit of safety just to kind of hold our rank, and I don't think there'll be too many other big hitters within the game that could do some serious damage if they were to go off on this final game week. But overall, I'm not feeling great about either of these picks, and they feel more like I'm just picking a player because they're safe for effective ownership, rather than having that excitement of picking these players. A player that does excite me a little bit is going to be Evan Nielsen. Final day of the season, Leicester at home. I know Bournemouth didn't look great last night, but still could be a really interesting pick against an already relegated Leicester side. We know there's going to be some big score lines on the final day of the season, and Evan Nielsen could be that man that definitely could deliver some goals. There could be plenty of goals within that Bournemouth game as well, and he's been in pretty decent form over the past few weeks, as you can see there. 1 goal, 1 assist, and I think he's going to be a very popular asset come the start of next season as well, when we are, of course, looking at players we want to select. But again, isn't filling me with like 100% excitement. I might actually potentially make 0 transfers to my team this game week. I'm just not really feeling anybody at the moment. I think Saka might be the one just for effective ownership and because it is Southampton. But other than that, I don't think there's going to be too many other players that I am going to be looking at in terms of bringing in this week. Of course, we've got to discuss captaincy this week because it is going to be so split. We've got the Fantasy Football Hub data up. Arsenal and Liverpool obviously were fancied by the betting markets for have strong projected goal numbers for this week. And as you can see, that is correlating with the predicted points as well, with Saka and Salah both being top of this list at 6.8. But given their recent run of form, given their recent point scoring ability, I am a little bit skeptical on whether or not I want to go with these. And that's kind of been the case for premiums across the board, hasn't it? Been really, really frustrating and disappointing in recent weeks. I don't own Haaland. Martinelli, I will not be bringing in. I can guarantee you that one. Watkins could be a decent captain shout. Evan Nielsen does fit on that list as well. We can see Palmer. Bowen is going to be my pick, I believe. I think I'm just feeling very, very strong towards him. And Mbeumo could be another great shout. Visser could also be a pretty decent shout heading into the final game week as well. But I do think my captain is going to be Jarrod Bowen. He's in an absolutely fantastic run of form and has been scoring pretty consistently. Now, the only thing I don't like about Jarrod Bowen is he's just not that guy to go and get the big double-digit hitting hauls. I think his biggest during this long stretch of point scoring has been 10. The other ones have been 9s and 8s. There's just not been too many double-digit hauls. He's only had 2 so far this season. So that is my only concern with Bowen. I do believe he's a great player. He's a steady Eddie. It's a fantastic fixture. And I'm really bullish on it because I like the guy. But is he going to be the player that delivers me the goods this week, and end the season strongly, considering how kind of not conservative his points are, but they're not, expansive. They're not worth giving the armband to. So that is my only concern with Jarrod Bowen and whether or not I do, of course, potentially take that punt on him in terms of captaincy. The other players that I am looking at, of course, are going to be Brian Mbeumo. Could be his last game for Brentford. I think he would want to end it in style. The other one is going to be Ollie Watkins as well. But for right now, I do believe Jarrod Bowen is going to be my leading pick in terms of captaincy. If you're not feeling any of those, of course, it is the final game week of the season. There are so many great options. And I think even towards the top end here, the premium options aren't like night and day above everybody else. So I do feel just probably go with your gut on this one and see which player you do feel has the best opportunity to go and score well in this final game week of the season. Okay, wasting no time, let's dive into the team selection then. Starting off first with our goalkeepers and defenders. As you can see, we do have the double Arsenal defence. They have a 42% chance of a clean sheet according to Rob T FPL. The only concern I do have with the Arsenal defence is it is looking likely that Saliba isn't going to be available for this final game, and he is such an imperative part of that back line that they potentially could weaken their influence. And I think, maybe Southampton will just give it one last go as well. It is a home fixture. They'll want to end the season strong for their fans and give them, at least something to look forward to next year in the Championship. So that is my only concern with this double defence. However, looking at my other choices for defenders that I could pick this week, Mikalenko and Munoz, I'm not feeling overly excited by either of them. So I do think the play could be just to play both of the Arsenal defenders. I could switch out Raya if I wanted to and go for Areola with Ipswich away. That is a pretty tasty fixture as well. If, of course, I didn't fancy going for the double up in terms of Arsenal defence, that could be a route that I maybe go for on the deadline, a little coin flip to potentially decide that one, with both of their clean sheet odds looking very, very similar for this game week. In terms of my other two defenders then, we've got Konza, Manchester United post-Europa League final. We don't know what position they're going to be in. A must-win game for Aston Villa as well, so you'll feel they'll probably be up for it. Konza as well off the back of that 15-pointer. We've got to play him this week and hope that he can certainly deliver as well. Gvardiol's in there. It's one of those, again, the other defenders within the teams not really kind of got pickable fixtures for me, and obviously Gvardiol with his super high ownership and effective ownership, he is just going to remain within the side for this week. Mohamed Salah, as you can see, starts off our midfield. He is top of the predicted points, or joint top with, of course, Bukayo Saka. Since game week 30 though, only 2 attacking returns. It has been very, very dismal for him. I don't really know what to expect after Palace's blistering win as well last night. Is he going to be a pick that I want? I'm still unsure on Mohamed Salah. He, again, might just be one that I do just keep just because of his high effective ownership. Keep him in there. If he does anything, he does anything. We've at least got him covered from that kind of perspective. Bowen is going to be our captain, 5.1 predicted points on the Fantasy Football Hub model for this game week. I really, really do like him as a picker. Like I said, 5 games now he has picked up returns in a row. It is absolutely phenomenal stuff from him. Can he do it for a 6 is the big question, and can he deliver a juicy double-digit haul to make it worth his captain this week? And Mbeumo against Wolves, I'm all there for that one. Again, that could be another one that on the day I do, of course, flip to Bryan Mbeumo. If you think back to some of his recent performances, I do feel he's been very unfortunate not to have got himself massive mega hauls. The game against Ipswich probably should have had 2 penalties. If he gets that on top of the assist, we're looking at a mountain mega haul. Of course, missing the penalty this game week as well. If he puts that in, a lot more people I definitely think would be considering Bryan Mbeumo as a potential captain shout again. So maybe he is a pick that we are underrating this game week, and potentially should be looking at in terms of the armband. Morgan Rogers is there. Like I said, this Villa game is massive for their Champions League qualification. United potentially could be on a high, maybe on the piss, or they could be very much down in the dumps. That is their season over, and obviously got to rethink what their summer strategy is going to be looking like. And you think maybe some of the players as well might potentially be looking towards the exit door from Manchester United if they don't get Champions League football. Obviously, there's been murmurs around Bruno Fernandes, a big money move from the Saudi League, and that is something that potentially could influence him if United don't, of course, go and get Champions League football. KDB is in here for now, but he is, like I said, very much up for threat in terms of whether or not we do want to keep him. Obviously played on Tuesday night, came off in the 68th minute. I imagine he'll probably get an earlier substitution yet again. Give himself, obviously, a round of applause for his final Premier League game. You imagine Fulham fans as well. They're not the most hostile club, so they'll probably clap him off as well. So, yeah, it's one of those where I do think we might just switch him out, get Saka in, play again the safe, effective ownership route, and just cover ourselves off from any potential threats heading into this final week. Watkins and Visser, I mean, does anything really need to be said about these two? Both with cracking fixtures, both absolutely cracking players who are in decent veins of form at the moment. Watkins, again, against that United side, if they're looking very, very ropey after the Europa League game, if it goes to 120 minutes, he could be a really, really sensible pickup there, and could be one that could do some serious damage to that Manchester United side. Of course, Villa potentially needing some goals as well on the final day to secure themselves that top 4 football as well. So I think, you know, some of the Villa players with a lot on the line, a leggy Manchester United, could throw themselves in potential kind of contention for the armband for this game week. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how the team is lining up. Like I said, if there is going to be any change, it probably will be De Bruyne out and Saka in, just to cover myself off from any effective ownership routes. Like I said, I hope you have enjoyed all the content that you've seen on the channel this season. This, of course, is the final team selection video of the campaign. So thank you very much for everybody that has watched this season. Of course, if you've got any questions about your team, get them in the chat. We'll try and help you out with as many questions as possible. But thank you for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in game week 38.